This week we've got some ship seals, tattletales,
She did it! She did it! She's the one you want!
and epic reveals.
All right.
All to come in Chapter 11 of Dark Force Rising.
Oh, yeah.
Intensify forward firepower! Too late!
Hello there, I'm Darren.
And I'm Kat.
And welcome to The Real Sequels, the series of events that happened after Episode 6 in the books, novels, and sometimes comics in the expanded universe. Today we're opening with Chapter 11 of Dark Force Rising. We open Chapter 11 with Han being jolted awake by Lando. Han immediately is at full alertness, a skill that he acquired whilst being on the run for so many years.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Take her away! Oh, no! Under!
Just like to point out the design of these ships are, interesting. Yeah. Interesting shape there.
What is it, son?
I don't know, sir. But it looks like a giant
Dick!
Yeah.
Take a look out of starboard.
Oh my god, it looks like a huge...
Wang! Pay attention.
I was distracted by that enormous flying...
Willie. Yeah. What's that?
We're here, Lando announces. It has been 47 hours since the Dreadnought had picked them up. Han and Lando worked out that the typical Dreadnought can pull a 0.4 past light speed, which would place them not more than 150,000 light years from New Cove. Aranez is somewhere communicating with the party on the other ship. Meanwhile, Han and Lando discuss checking out the magnetic seal on the ship. It had been attached off-center when the Dreadnought had picked them up, which meant that they had to stay aboard the Lady Luck with no way of transferring to the larger ship. Both seem to think that this was done deliberately, and that there are many innocent reasons for not wanting them to sneak aboard. However, there are plenty of nefarious ones as well, and they should proceed with caution. Just then, the comms rang. Lady Luck, this is Senna. We've arrived. Lando replied that he expects Senna will want the Lady Luck to follow them to the planet's surface, to which Senna agrees and suggests that the Peregrin will disconnect the magnetic coupling when they are ready. That name rang old bells for Han from his childhood on Corellia.
Oh, did he read Lord of the Rings too? Han's like, Peregrin, that fool of a took. Though Pippin's probably not the most intimidating name for a dreadnought. Fueled by the finest old Toby, best pipeweed in all the Shire.
No, it turns out the Peregrin is an old Corellian ghost story. Han says that it was about an old man who was cursed to wander the world forever and never find his home again, and that it used to give him the creeps. Lando sarcastically reassures Han that it was just a legend, and they make their descent to the planet's surface. As they make their way to the planet, Lando remarks under his breath that this looks like someone's own private army. Han agrees, to which Lando says, "You sure you want to go through with this?" And Han replies, "It doesn't look like we have a choice." So they come in the land and are welcomed by Senna, who rushes them off. Han remarks that this is a busy place and asks if they're getting ready to start a war, to which Senna says that they are not in the business of starting wars. So they take off in a skiff towards their destination. As they travel through the base, Lando remarks that this place looks like an old Alliance base.
When the speeder stops, Han gets out and licks the floor to check that it's not Hoth. Spits it out and is like, dirt.
So during the entire trip, Senna has been very standoffish and avoiding questions from Han and Lando as to who they are and what they're doing. As they approach the administration-looking building, the doorway flanked by armed guards, Senna pipes up and says, "The commander has asked to speak with you alone, Captain Solo." Han agrees and enters the building. Entering what he assumes to be a typical admin building, he was surprised by the amount of tech on the walls, lined with tactical consoles, and what looked like a KDY V-150 Planet Defender ion cannon, like what they had on Hoth. In the center of the room was a holo map displaying a sector's worth of stars and vectors. Behind this was the distorted face of a man, a face that Han had only seen in pictures. "Senator Bel Iblis," he breathed. "Welcome to the Peregrin's Nest, Captain Solo. I'm surprised you remember me." Han repaid the comment in kind, saying, "It'd be hard for any Corellian to forget about him." "You thought I was dead," said Bel. Han replied that everyone thought he died on Ankaron. Bel replies that, in a way, he had died. It was then that he had lost everything and was forced to go outside the law. and that he felt perhaps Han knew that feeling all too well. Han remarks that the Alliance could have used Bel's army during the war. However, Bel explains that he probably wouldn't have been much use, as it's taken them a long time to get up to the strength they have now. Bel sees that Han is trying to remember where they had previously met. Han just can't remember at all. However, Bel has a very sharp memory of the occasion. It was when Han was 11, at his school in Corellia. Han had asked two very pointed questions that intrigued the then politician. One was about anti-alien bias entering the legal structure of the Republic, and the second being specific cases of corruption with Bel's colleagues. Han could vaguely remember thinking that a friend had dared him to ask those, being too polite to ask himself and not wanting to get in trouble. But at that stage, Han was used to getting into trouble. Since then, Bel had tried to keep track of Solo. Bel says to bring in Lando, as he's bound to be getting nervous by now. Lando introduces himself to the commander, and they both get acquainted. Bel then turns to Senna and asks where Irene is. Senna says that she's gone to soothe Tav Brillia. Bel says yes, that could get awkward. To which Han says that Bel seems to be on good terms with the Bothan. Bel tells him that Han still doesn't dodge hard questions, and that he'd be happy to tell Han all he wants to know, but then he'll have some questions for Han. We then switch to the Chimera. Pelegrin is heading to Thrawn's command center. In the shadowy corridor, he is irritated and calls to the shadows that he doesn't have time for these games.
Pelegrin's like, he's going to do that creepy thing where he breathes on my neck, isn't he? He started wearing scarves up to see Thrawn. A nice woolly number.
Yes, and Rook pops out and says that they are not games. This is a skill. And Pelegrin's like, whatever, and he heads on. As he enters the room, he sees Thrawn surrounded by holographic, exquisitely delicate light sculptures.
I love this. Again, Thrawn knowing Pelegrin so well. He sees Pelegrin enter the room, and Pelegrin thinks that the sculptures are candles at first, and his mind goes to when they first met Kabath. Thrawn just says, no, I'm not under the influence of Kabath. Look closer. Thrawn's just the best wifey ever. Knows exactly what's going on behind that blank expression.
Yeah, so Thrawn says that these beautiful holograms are Corellian flame miniatures, and that they are unique to the planet. Thrawn shows Pelegrin a hologram of the 3 dreadnoughts, and explains that one of those ships rescued the Lady Luck. Pelegrin states that it seems like our old friends are back, a nuisance. Thrawn outlines that there was a Corellian leading the task force. Pelegrin makes a connection that Solo was also Corellian. Just then, they are interrupted by a holocom. It's Captain Dorja, who has a prisoner of interest, picked up during the raid in New Cove.
Thrawn's like, yes, I can smell the cigars from here.
That's right, it's Niles Ferrier. Thrawn and Ferrier have a back and forth where Thrawn lays out that he could confiscate Niles' ship for being caught with undeclared biomolecules. To which Ferrier says that he has been helpful to the Empire. Thrawn, however, cuts him off and says that he's been more than fairly compensated for past actions and offers him an ultimatum. He now has 3 standard months to steal the dreadnoughts from the team that saved Solo over New Cove, or lose his ship. Our final scene is of Pelegrin delivering his news to Thrawn. It's about Kabarak's ship. The results have come back and they read that Wookiee hairs were aboard the ship. This means that the Wookiees captured the Nogri and let him go. Thrawn then states that it may be that the Nogri have forgotten where their loyalties lie, and he commands Pelegrin to return to the bridge for a suitable demonstration. Pelegrin asks if Thrawn just wants a reminder and not total destruction, to which Thrawn replies, for now, and let them pray I do not change my mind. That was a good wee chapter.
Yeah, it was, definitely.
It's kind of cool seeing that, like, a bit more about Han's kind of backstory.
Yeah, definitely. I like Bel as a character. He seems interesting.
Yeah, and then we're kind of seeing how cold Thrawn can be. Just a gentle reminder, because we've seen that in Heir to the Empire when he just clicks his fingers and pops in and just cuts off some guy's head.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all we've got time for this week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if we've earned it, and leave us a wee comment below. If you were doing a ship design, what shape would you pick?
It is too round on the top. It needs to be pointy. Round is not scary. Pointy is scary. This will put a smile on the faces of the enemy. They will think that it is a huge robot's dildo flying towards them.
This is almost as interesting as the door question.
Yeah, don't forget to check out some videos of the this one, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.